In the heart of untamed wilderness, where survival sways on a razor's edge, daring safari guides pit their wits against ferocious felines. Some emerge as victors, while others meet a chilling fate. Hold your breath, because today's collection is all about such unbelievable and daring guides who thought they could tame the untamable, only to face something utterly unexpected. Mike Hodge. This is the story of Michael Hodge, a trader in England who moved to South Africa with his family because he always wanted to live his dream life among lions. In 1999, he established a sanctuary there, which focused on lion conservation and provided tourists with a safe and educational wildlife experience. But the heart of his sanctuary wasn't just the magnificent landscapes, it was a lion cub named Shamba. Mike devoted himself to Shamba's upbringing, bottle feeding, and nurturing him into adulthood. Their bond was unbreakable, and they became inseparable companions over the years. However, a decade later, as Shamba matured into a powerful lion, their story took a startling turn. The center's main attraction was the Lion Mobile Tour, during which tourists were enclosed in a cage on a truck, with chickens used to lure the lions closer for a thrilling encounter. One day in 2018, something really unexpected happened. Hodge was trying to exit the enclosure after a successful tour when Shamba unexpectedly burst into aggression. It jumped on Mike with the wrong intentions, grabbing his owner tightly into his powerful jaws. Shamba dragged him away. Fortunately, before things could escalate further, a park employee made the difficult decision to euthanize the lion, ultimately saving Mike Hodge's life. With his body bearing lethal scars, Mike recovered. Despite surviving physically, Hodge was left traumatized by the incident, especially the loss of Shamba, whom he had hand-reared. It was a tragic event that forever changed Mike Hodge's life and left a lasting impact on his family and the visitors to his sanctuary. Diana Hansen. Born and raised in a modest California town, Diana displayed a deep fascination with animals from a tender age. Her parents often reminisced about her childhood, where she spent hours poring over wildlife books and gazing in awe at nature documentaries. As she entered her teenage years, her fascination grew stronger. After graduating, she applied for an internship at Cat Haven, a renowned wildlife sanctuary. Little did she know that her journey would take a heartbreaking turn within just 2 months of starting her internship. It was March 2013 when she entered an enclosure where she wasn't supposed to be. Inside the closure was a 4-year-old African lion named Koskus that turned the peaceful sanctuary into the guttural roars of terror. Diana had become prey, and Koskus had turned predator. Although sheriff's deputies descended upon the scene with their weapons aiming at the ferocious beast, shattering the tranquil atmosphere of Cat Haven, it was too late. Their efforts were unsuccessful. Diana's fate had been sealed. The sanctuary was closed to the public, and experts were set to examine the lion's body to determine what might have triggered the animal. Moreover, the victim's family and authorities were puzzled about why she had entered the lion's enclosure in the first place, as the sanctuary's rules clearly prohibited anyone except the owner from going into the cage. The reasons behind her daring move remain shrouded in mystery. What could have compelled her to defy the rules that cost her her life? West Mathewson. No matter how majestic or how lovable these kings are, their behavior is always unpredictable. Known as Uncle West, West Mathewson, a 69-year-old South African conservationist, had a lifelong passion for wildlife, particularly lions. He had hand-reared 2 white lionesses, nurturing them from cubs to adulthood. But in 2020, his regular walk with lions became his last interaction. He was walking with his beloved pets on the premises of his family-owned Lion Tree Top Lodge, when one of the lionesses turned into a brutal beast and approached his owner with bad intentions. His wife Gil, who was following closely in her vehicle, attempted to rescue him, but couldn't prevent the tragedy. This wasn't the first time the lions had been involved in a lethal incident. In 2017, they had mauled a man working at a neighboring property. Mathewson, however, had always maintained that the lions were not aggressive, as he spent 3 to 4 hours a day walking with them. Following the tragic incident, the lions were temporarily moved to a facility while their future was being decided. The family assured that they would be placed in the best possible environment. West Mathewson's life and tragic end serve as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of wild animals, even when raised from infancy. His legacy, a testament to his dedication to wildlife conservation, lives on as a valuable lesson for others working with exotic animals. Alexandra Black. Here is the story of another animal lover who always wanted to make a career of working with animals. Alexandra Black's journey was rooted in her childhood love for animals. From a young age, she spent her free time volunteering at wildlife rescue centers and immersing herself in nature. Alexandra pursued her passion professionally and started an internship at the Conservator Center. Her role allowed her to work closely with animals, gaining valuable experience in animal husbandry and behavior. But in December 2018, a tragedy occurred when a lion escaped from its enclosure during a routine cleaning. Despite the diligent efforts of staff to secure the facility, Mathai, the 14-year-old male lion, managed to enter human space. In a tragic turn of events, Alexandra Black found herself in a life-threatening situation, leading to a fatal encounter with the escaped lion. Mathai quickly jumped onto her without giving her any chance to retaliate. Although the male lion was euthanized, it was too late. Alexandra's passion for working in the zoological industry ended up costing her life. The incident prompted a thorough investigation into the circumstances surrounding the escape, focusing on security protocols and containment measures. Alexandra's story serves as a tale that highlights the complex balance between human endeavors and the untamed world of wildlife. Quinn Wallace. Growing up in a small village in Zimbabwe, Quinn Wallace developed a profound love for animals and the natural world that surrounded him. Spending countless hours exploring the wilderness, he learned about the behavior of animals and their habitats. This knowledge, coupled with his genuine affection for the creatures he encountered, made him an exceptional safari guide. Tragically, Quinn's lifelong love for animals ultimately led to his untimely demise. In August 2015, Quinn Wallace was taking guests on a photographic walking safari in Hwang National Park when something really unexpected happened. They were tracking a pride of lions when suddenly, out of nowhere, a male lion decided to ruin their safari tour by charging at them. Yet, even in the face of danger, Wallace's extensive experience allowed him to protect his group effectively. None of the guests suffered any injuries. They managed to scare off the lion and promptly contacted park officials. However, in doing so, Wallace was left with several injuries that became fatal for him. Condolences spread across social media as news of Wallace's tragedy circulated. Quinn Wallace's tragic demise at the hands of a lion has left a void in the safari community, but his heroism in protecting his group will be remembered. Chappelle. It's not always the animal at fault. Sometimes disregarding warnings highlighting the consequences of invading animal territory leads to a fatal end. Our next story is about a tourist whose curiosity became the last mistake of her life. Chappelle, a 29-year-old visual effects editor from New York, was in South Africa to help protect animals from poachers. It was a day in June in 2015 when she was visiting a safari park without even knowing that it would be her last visit. Ignoring the park's numerous warnings to keep windows closed, she left hers open, aiming her camera at a majestic big cat for what she thought would be a memorable photograph of the lioness. But the wild queen had some other plans. To her horror, the animal suddenly lunged at the car. In a split second, the powerful jaws of the lioness clamped down on the lady. Witnesses in other vehicles honked their horns, trying to get the attention of the animal, and were successful in scaring off the lion. The lioness backed off, but not before leaving Catherine struggling for life. Panic ensued as the driver of the vehicle also became a victim while attempting to wrestle the lioness away. Despite the swift arrival of paramedics and efforts by park rangers to chase the lioness away, it was too late to save the woman. The park officials, however, chose not to euthanize the lioness, but decided to relocate her to an enclosure away from public access. Travis Kaufman. In a world where danger doesn't always roar in the safari, a routine jog can turn life-threatening when nature's predator strikes. This is Travis Kaufman, a 31-year-old hiker who has always found solace in the wilderness. One sunny day, he faced an extraordinary challenge during a routine run when he crossed paths with a mountain lion. The rustling of pine needles behind him forced him to stop. To his shock, a mountain lion emerged. The wild encounter took an unexpected turn when the lion sprinted towards him. He stopped in his tracks, raised his hands, and shouted, but it continued its charge. Travis instinctively shielded himself with his hands. The big cat clamped onto his hand and wrist, relentlessly clawing on him. Fear gave way to desperation as he fought back, realizing the danger to his eyes. They tumbled down the hill, engaging in a fierce struggle. Despite his attempts to pry the lion off, Travis found himself trapped. He used sticks and even a heavy rock, but the lion held on. With no other choice, he shifted his weight and managed to get a foot on the lion's neck. After a tense few minutes, the lion finally ceased its movements, and Travis scrambled to safety. The injured mountain lion, a younger one, lay motionless. It had been a harrowing experience for both man and beast, ending tragically for the lion. Travis's survival hinged on his quick thinking and resolve during a life-or-death encounter with one of nature's most formidable predators. Michael Prazek. Domesticating wild animals is not an easy task, but some people never understand this fact, which mostly leads to fatal tragedy. One such story portrays the incident of Michael Prazek, who was also thought to tame a lion. The resident of Jetchkov, Mr. Prazek, bought a lion in 2016 and a lioness and kept them both in homemade enclosures in his backyard. Despite being warned several times in his conflict with authorities, he refused to let anyone onto his property. He also denied planning permission to build the pens and was subsequently fined for illegal breeding. Mr. Prazek made headlines after a cyclist collided with the lioness as he was taking her for a walk on a leash. After intervention by police, the incident was deemed a tragic accident. To him, these majestic lions weren't just animals, they were his companions, his passion, and an embodiment of his unrelenting spirit. But one day, a tragedy took place. Mr. Prazek's father, while he was walking near the lion's cage, couldn't believe his eyes when he saw his son's lifeless body inside the cage. Prazek was mauled to an end by his own lions, whom he thought he could tame. Authorities reached the scene and subdued the lion, ensuring the safety of the neighbors. Animal control officials later euthanized the animal as a precaution. Mr. Prazek's act of violating laws not just resulted in his untimely demise, it was also wrong for those creatures who were kept away from their natural habitat. Leon van Biljon. In South Africa, thousands of lions are held in private facilities, many destined for controversial canned trophy hunts. It's a lucrative industry with a dark side, as these apex predators, once symbols of the wild, are reduced to mere profit. Sometimes these wild cats behave nicely, while other times they show their aggressive side. Let us move toward the next tragic story. In a serene corner of South Africa near the town of Cullinan, there lived a man known as the Lion Man, who lived at the Mahala View Lodge, which he owned with his family. The lodge was not just a place for tourists, it housed 3 lions, Rambo, Katrin, and Nikita, in enclosures on the property. Van Biljon had a remarkable bond with his lions, and visitors were drawn to this unique experience. Under South African law, he could keep these majestic creatures for exhibition purposes with permits. One day in 2019, a tragedy unfolded when Van Biljon entered the lion enclosure, confident in the 3-decade-old bond he'd formed with the lions. As he turned his back, one of the lions pounced and tragedy struck. Emergency services and neighbors rushed to the lodge, but it was too late. The lions had to be euthanized to access Biljon, who had succumbed to his injuries. This tragic incident shed light on the risks and ethical dilemmas of keeping wild animals in captivity. The story serves as a stark reminder that no matter the bond formed, wild animals can never truly be tamed. Norman Balwa. Now we have another story of a man whose passion for taming wild animals became the reason for his ultimate end. Born and raised in the heart of Canada, Norman's early years were marked by exploring the rugged wilderness, fostering a love for wildlife that would shape his entire life. Norman's fascination with tigers began during a visit to a wildlife sanctuary as a teenager. This encounter sparked his lifelong passion for big cats. Over the years, Norman built a sanctuary of his own, where he raised his beloved tigers with utmost care and affection. He saw these creatures as not just animals, but as his companions, and his bond with them was profound. One fateful Sunday, Norman was inside the tiger's enclosure, attending to the animal he had loved for so long, when something unexpected happened. A 660-pound Siberian tiger's behavior shifted, and it suddenly jumped on his owner, resulting in costing Norman his life. He was found by a family member shortly afterward, who was able to lock the tiger in a separate part of the cage. Following the incident, local authorities took custody of the tigers, ensuring their safety and well-being. The town mourned the loss of a 66-year-old man whose love for animals had defined his existence, and his legacy served as a reminder of the profound bond that can exist between humans and the creatures they take care of. Cynthia Lee Gamble. Holding a fascination for wild felines, another lady became the victim of one of her own pets. This is the tragic tale of Cynthia Lee Gamble. Cynthia's early life was marked by a childhood spent amidst the wilderness, fostering a strong bond with nature. Her love for animals led her to create a sanctuary of her own, where she nurtured and cared for these magnificent creatures as her own family. Her sprawling 80-acre property in the tranquil Pine County was a testament to her deep affection for tigers, cougars, and other majestic creatures. However, an unforeseen incident shattered the tranquility of her sanctuary in 2006. One day while cleaning a Bengal tiger's cage, she accidentally left one of the drop doors open, exposing her to an unexpected strike from behind. It was one of her own tigers that she had raised from a cub, and yet in a rare moment of aggression, the tiger mauled Cynthia. Her body was found by one of her workers, who immediately informed the authorities. The tiger was euthanized and was taken to the University of Minnesota University Hospital for testing. Cynthia is not more, and so is her pet tiger. But this incident clearly highlights the understanding of the delicate balance between humans and the untamed world of the wild. Rosa King. Rosa King, an experienced zookeeper with 13 years of service, had a lifelong passion for animals. From the age of 2, she dreamed of working closely with them. Eventually, she became the head of the carnivore section at Hamerton Zoological Park. On May 29, 2017, Rosa embarked on her routine task of cleaning the tiger enclosure's windows. However, a crucial safety slide, unbeknownst to her, was locked in the open position. As she left, the Malayan tiger Sissip pounced upon her. Rosa was found inside the enclosure with several scratches on her body. There were no witnesses to the tragic event of how she lost her life, but a set of keys and paw prints along her side were telling the tale. She had become a victim of one of the tigers. Following the attack, the zoo staff acted swiftly, closing the gates and luring Sissip away with raw meat. The zoo's reliance on police officers for firearm assistance in dealing with escaped animals was exposed, highlighting potential risks. An inquest in 2019 concluded that Rosa's tragedy was accidental, emphasizing the dependence on keepers following safety procedures meticulously. It was a stark reminder that even the most experienced professionals could make critical oversights. Rosa's story is a tragic reminder of the risks associated with working closely with wild animals, a field she dedicated her life to, and her love for them remains an enduring legacy. Wu. In the tranquil heart of Fuzhou Zoo, tragedy struck as a seasoned trainer, Wu met a grisly end at the paws of the tiger he had raised from a cub. Wu, born into a family of animal lovers, had dedicated his life to nurturing the big cat. Together, they formed an extraordinary bond, captivating zoo visitors for years. One fateful day during a routine training session, Tiger suddenly turned on Wu. The peaceful coexistence they had shared shattered in an instant. The chilling screams of witnesses echoed through the zoo, drawing immediate attention. Shockingly, this once beloved tiger, now a formidable beast, mauled its lifelong caretaker. Some co-workers tried to scare it away from the trainer's body. However, the beast appeared reluctant to leave its prey. Eventually, workers were able to drive the tiger off and was tranquilized and separated from the scene as emergency responders rushed to save the trainer. Sadly, it was too late. Wu succumbed to his injuries. In the aftermath, the tiger was relocated to a sanctuary where experts aimed to reintegrate him into a more natural habitat. The incident served as a haunting reminder of the untamed nature lurking beneath the surface of even the closest animal-human bonds. Fuzhou Zoo mourned the loss of both Wu and the innocence of the animal, a tale that would forever be etched in its history. Stacy Connolly. Stacy Connolly, a dedicated 38-year-old zookeeper with over 3 years of experience at the Palm Beach Zoo, met a tragic end when one of the zoo's Malayan tigers turned on her. Stacy's life revolved around the big cats, and she was well-versed in handling them. The tragic incident unfolded one fateful day during a routine cleaning. As Stacy tended to the tiger enclosure, one of the tigers, known as the Tiger of Whisperer, mauled her. Connolly was airlifted, but despite all emergency responders, Stacy succumbed to her injuries. In the wake of the tragedy, the government conducted a thorough investigation to determine the cause of the attack and to assess the safety protocols at the zoo. Zoo staff, devastated by the loss of their colleague, grieved quietly. The tiger, responsible for Stacy's demise, was spared from euthanization. Instead, it was relocated to a more isolated area within the zoo, away from public view, as a precautionary measure. Stacy's untimely demise served as a sobering reminder of the inherent risks involved in working with wild animals, even for those with extensive experience. The zoo and its staff, while heartbroken, remained committed to their mission of conservation and education. Stacy's memory lived on as a testament to their dedication, while her tragic end emphasized the need for ongoing safety precautions in the care of these majestic creatures. Jennifer Brown. This heartbreaking incident took place at Shoalhaven Zoo in Nora on the NSW South Coast in May 2020, when a female zookeeper was gravely wounded during a harrowing encounter with 2 lions. Jennifer, a dedicated caregiver with years of experience, was in the midst of her daily routine, cleaning the lion enclosure, when this upsetting incident occurred. While she was working, the male lion suddenly pounced, catching her off guard. It was a terrifying peak moment, the tranquility of the zoo shattered by the chaos within the enclosure. In the aftermath of the horrifying charge, emergency responders rushed to the scene, and the lions were swiftly contained. Jenny was airlifted to a Sydney hospital and remained in serious condition. Fortunately, she survived. As the investigation into the incident unfolded, questions loomed regarding the future of the lions. But both lions were secured shortly after and posed no further threat. Although Jenny survived, this terrifying incident left a never-ending impact on her. Today, Miss Brown is fiercely private about the accident. She wants to be left to go about her business of caring for the lions at her new home, Central Coast Zoo, which is not yet open to the public. And as a trainer, she is looking forward to getting more involved in teaching the next generation of zookeepers. Violet Demello. The next incident portrays the story of a Scottish tourist who was hailing from Aberdeen when she found herself in an unexpected and harrowing situation during her visit to a game reserve near Port Elizabeth, South Africa. In April 2012, Violet Demello was in a petting pen with cheetahs when was mauled as she tried to shield young children from another group sharing the enclosure. Violet's husband, Archie Demello, captured the startling incident on camera. One photo showed her smiling and posing with one of the cheetahs, which had been raised by humans in the petting enclosure. However, the situation quickly escalated, and other photos displayed Violet on the ground, her hair disheveled, and two cheetahs nearby. Park staff and fellow visitors rushed to her aid, managing to pull the cheetahs away. Remarkably, Violet wasn't seriously injured and continued with her holiday in South Africa. The park's owner decided to close the facility temporarily to investigate the incident. He expressed bewilderment, stating it was an unprecedented event and they were trying to understand what might have agitated the cheetahs. Despite this traumatic encounter, the Demello couple opted to continue their tour of South Africa. The incident serves as a reminder of the unpredictable nature of wild animals, even those raised in captivity, and underscores the importance of caution and safety when interacting with them. Steve Leonard. Steve Leonard had always been fascinated by lions. From the moment they were cubs, he had watched them grow under the careful guidance of their owner, Kevin, who had raised them with love and care. The lions, Napoleon and Tame, had developed a strong bond with Kevin over the years. One day, driven by his insatiable curiosity, Steve Leonard decided to visit the lion's cage just to understand what made these majestic creatures the perfect fighters of the animal kingdom. As he stepped inside, he felt a mixture of excitement and trepidation. Initially, the interaction seemed promising. Napoleon and Tao appeared relaxed, but Steve was able to sense their restlessness. He cautiously attempted to pet Napoleon, who, with a flicker in his tail, hinted at his unease. The atmosphere grew tense, and Steve knew he was pushing his luck. Suddenly, the lions became aggressive. Napoleon, once seemingly docile, lunged at him. Steve's heart raced as he remembered Kevin's warning about their unpredictable behavior. With quick reflexes, he managed to escape, never turning his back on the ferocious animals. Breathing heavily, he exited the cage, shaken but alive. He was lucky to sense the wrong intentions, otherwise he might have ended up in the powerful jaws. Steve Leonard's curiosity had brought him face to face with the raw power of nature's apex predators, and he had narrowly escaped their fury. It was a lesson learned the hard way. Even the most intimate bonds with wild animals could never fully eliminate their wild instincts. Vladimir Markov. Last but not least, now on the list is the tragic story of a hunter who became a victim of a tiger's revenge. No, he didn't think to tame the striped cat. There was one little mistake that proved fatal for him. In December 1997, in the chilling expanse of eastern Siberia's forest, Vladimir Markov, a local hunter, unwittingly stumbled upon a fresh kill, a wild boar half-eaten in the snow. His discovery wasn't just ominous, it was life-threatening, because it was the handiwork of a Siberian tiger, one of Russia's ferocious predators. Realizing the danger, Markov confronted the approaching tiger with his weapon. However, his shot merely wounded the beast, and it retreated into the wilderness, nursing its injuries. 2 days later, grim news reached the authorities. Markov was mauled by a vicious tiger at his own cabin. Investigators arrived at a gruesome scene for a chilling discovery. The same tiger had devoured Markov. Stranger still, it seemed as if the tiger had systematically destroyed everything tainted by Markov's scent, as if in a fit of rage. Strangely, the tiger had tracked Markov for over 11 kilometers, waited for around 48 hours at his cabin, and then ended him upon his return. The tragedy of Vladimir Markov's ill fate was as mysterious as it was terrifying. Some believed it was driven by competition, a predator eliminating a potential threat. Others speculated that it was an act of vengeance, suggesting that animals, like humans, can harbor complex emotions. Witnessing a man in a life-threatening situation likely sent shivers down your spine. There have been numerous cases where safari tourists or guides became victims of apex big cats. The specific location and date of this incident remain unknown. However, while searching for this battle between a lion and this guy, I came across a terrifying clip in which a group of safari hunters embarked on a daring expedition to control lions. While tracking through dense African brush, their intentions shifted from control to survival when one of the wild cats decided to confront the invaders. It suddenly appeared with a terrifying roar, triggering a sudden charge toward one of the hunters. Before anything more serious could happen, another hunter managed to tranquilize the lion. Fortunately, the hunter remained unharmed and just got minor injuries. Also, the lion was moved back to the African savanna. Their attempt to tame these untamable creatures left them with nothing more than a stark reminder of nature's unforgiving power. The hunter's mission had transformed into a life-threatening encounter, emphasizing the primal nature of the wild. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.